A lot of people have actually come up to us every week talking about purchasing a duplex here in Kenosha. But here's the truth. It can actually provide a long-term success financially, but there's also one mistake that a lot of people forget about duplexes. And Chad, what is that one mistake?
Well, if you watch this video, we'll dive into that mistake and tell you what that big mistake is that can cost you a lot of money down the road.
And help you to avoid those pitfalls and buy it with actually confidence to make sure you are doing the right thing.
We're Chad and Aalia Scott, your local Kenosha area realtors here. We help buyers, sellers, and investors just like you every single week. So give us a call or shoot us a text at 262-331-1621 or grab our relocation guide down here in the description of this video. We're happy to help anytime that you're ready.
All right, let's go into the video. So Chad, explain what exactly is a duplex.
So technically a duplex is 2 units or more in one building. Most people in our area, they're looking for like a side-by-side duplex. So that's like 2 homes, like typically a ranch style home. That side-by-side, you'll see 2 front doors that are like right next to each other.
It looks like a townhome.
Yeah, kind of.
So, but it's not.
However, in our area, those are really rare and really hard to find. Just because most investors that have a side-by-side duplex, they make a ton of money off them and they hardly ever sell them. So when they do come up for sale, they sell like wildfire. They're gone almost immediately, or they sell off market.
So why are duplexes gaining traction here in this Kenosha market?
Probably just because it is a very good way for beginner investors to start their portfolio. Most duplexes that you'll see here in the Kenosha area are uppers and lowers. So you have a lower unit, and then you have an upper unit above it. You have an apartment downstairs and an apartment upstairs. And it's such a great investment tool for beginners because they're relatively inexpensive. You're not going to spend $300,000 on most duplexes, although they can get really expensive. But most duplexes are ranging around $150,000 for really cheap ones to maybe $250,000, $300,000 for a decent duplex. And they're really good for beginner investors because you're only dealing with 1, maybe 2 tenants. And if you really want to start off as a beginner investor, you live in one unit yourself and rent off the second unit.
And so one of the reasons why it's also gaining traction is the rising rent. So Chad had suggested that you live in one of the units and then rent out the other. So with the rising rents, you can actually put a higher rent, and that will pay for most of the, if not more than half of the mortgage right there. So it's a really good aspect of gaining some cash and actually getting some experience as a landlord.
Sometimes it'll pay for all of your mortgage depending on the rent prices.
That is true.
Depends on what you buy the duplex for and how much you can charge in rent in the area.
So one of the pros of buying a duplex in Kenosha is like there is a potential of a cash flow that's coming to you. Like we said, you can rent out one unit and then you live in the other unit. Especially with the 3-bedroom units or larger, that you're able to provide more of an option for tenants to come live there. Also, especially with let's say 5-10 or those big companies that are coming, so there is more lucrative aspects of it as well.
Yeah, there's so much new business coming to our area and just not enough homes for sale for everybody to move into. We definitely need rentals. Obviously, they're building more apartments in our area, but they're not ready yet. So if you happen to have an investment property that has rentals available, you can definitely rent them out to people.
So let's talk about the tax benefits of owning a duplex, Chad. What is it?
So the tax benefits. So you obviously own a house, so you can deduct your mortgage interest rate, the interest that you pay on your mortgage over the year. You can deduct that every year at tax time. Depreciation, because it is an investment property, you can depreciate that every year. Talk to your tax advisor. Obviously, we're not CPAs, we're not tax advisors. So talk to your tax advisor about what exactly you can do. But you can also deduct expenses. So if you have to make repairs to the property, if you have to replace the water heater, if the roof needs to be replaced, if your tenant breaks the toilet, or the tenant moves out and you have to replace the carpeting and repaint the property, you can deduct all those expenses that you make on the property. Those are all tax deductible. But of course, like I said, talk to your tax professional and see what you can and can't deduct.
So moving to Kenosha into a duplex here in town is more affordable than finding a duplex in Racine or even over the border in Waukegan. And can you explain more, Chad?
So it can be cheaper than Racine or Waukegan. I mean, rents are fluctuating all the time in every city. It depends on where you move at. It depends on where the duplex is. It depends on how nice the duplex is. It depends on the landlord and what they're charging for rent. But typically it's cheaper than like a managed apartment. If you go to like a managed apartment, something like a Pikes Creek or the Falls at Pikes Creek, those apartments are usually a lot more expensive for a similar number of bedrooms and bathrooms and square footage than a duplex, just because those are professionally managed and
there's a lot more cost in order to pay those property management companies so that the tenants are acquiring that amount into their rents.
Correct.
So keep in mind that.
So what are some drawbacks of having a duplex?
So you're going to run into many different negatives in owning a duplex. If you are going to rent out the other part of the duplex, you're going to deal with some tenants, and that comes along with tenant troubles. And I'm not saying all tenants are bad. However, sometimes life happens, and that tenant is going to run through some financial difficulties, so they're going to deal with you're going to deal with late payments of their rent. How are you going to handle that? Tenants, I mean, things happen, or you have a tenant that just doesn't care about your place and the property gets damaged.
You'll see a lot of times tenants just don't care as much about your property because it's not theirs. They don't own it. They don't care as much about it. So when they move out, they tend to leave holes in the walls. Carpets are stained.
Pet issues. If you do allow pets, you're going to have pet stains and scratches on the floor. So you're going to deal with a lot of those obstacles in owning a duplex. There's a lot of turnover in regards to tenants. You know, if this tenant that is currently in your duplex is like said, okay, you know what, I'm not going to renew my lease. So now there's going to be another headache of you finding another replacement for that tenant that's leaving.
So now you have to pay for marketing to market your duplex or market that open apartment. Now you have to pay for a new credit check, a new background check. Sometimes tenants break their lease early. They'll buy out their lease, and then you have to find a new tenant even earlier than a year. So you have to deal with all that stuff.
So purchasing a duplex is through financing can be a little tricky. You definitely need good credit, and about 20 to 25% down. And if it's not, especially if it's not owner occupied, meaning that if you're not living there, it's going to change into an investment property, which means that you will need a little bit more to put down at closing. So if you are not planning to stay and it's just a pure investment, make sure you have 20 to 25% for closing costs and down payments. Maintenance, and we were talking about how the property can get damaged and maybe that toilet broke down. Now you have to maintain it. So who's going to maintain it, Chad?
You.
Yeah, and I don't know how to fix a toilet.
Guess what? You have an investment property. You have a duplex. You have 2 kitchens to maintain, 2 furnaces, 2 water heaters.
Double the fun, guys.
That's right. Plus your own house to maintain too. So technically you have 3 kitchens,
Exactly.
3 furnaces, 3 water heaters.
Especially if you're not planning to live in one of the duplexes yourself. Property management. So if you are an investor, let's say living in Florida and bought a duplex here for an investment property, now you're going to deal with property management. How are you going to manage that duplex in Florida?
Are you going to pay somebody to manage that property for you? That's usually the best route to do it. You just pay somebody. It's usually a percentage of the rent. Usually 5 to 10% of the monthly rent is what the property management company gets. And they deal with pretty much all the headaches for you. They find a tenant for you. They repair anything that needs to be repaired for you.
They usually have contacts.
Yeah, up to a certain amount. If it's over a certain amount, they get you approval before they make any repairs, that kind of stuff. But property management companies can be a headache sometimes too, because they go in and out of business all the time. Sometimes they're not very responsive. Some are better than others, so that can be a headache as well. All right, so let's look at the numbers for buying a duplex here in Kenosha. Aalia, let's see out these numbers.
So we're looking at a $285,000 purchase on a duplex. So if it's being purchased with an FHA, which is a first home buyer loan, and it's for owner occupied, meaning that you're actually going to be living in one of the units on scene and whatnot. So it's going to be at 3.5% down payment, which is about $10,000. And then when you calculate it down, so the mortgage, tax, insurance, and these are all approximate numbers because obviously it's going to be dependent on your credit score as well, and what you and the lender kind of discuss.
Property location, that kind of stuff.
Property location and like what your lender talks to you about. So the mortgage, taxes, and insurance actually kind of comes around $2,200 a month. So let's take that, and then you're going to rent out the other side just so you can start your investing history, and you're going to charge that tenant about $1,300 to $1,600 a month, which is almost half of the mortgage in itself, which is great. But when you net the cost of living or the living costs, you're going to bank about $600 to $900 a month, or even break even depending on where you set your rent. So a typical rent in Kenosha is about $1,200 to $1,800. So it depends on the unit size, the condition, the location, and the amenities that you provide for the tenant. So just take those amounts. Those are just approximate amount. Again, it depends on your credit score and what the lender and you have discussed.
So where are the best duplex deals in Kenosha, Aalia?
I mean, we are looking at the Uptown area, Lincoln Park for sure. That's kind of up and coming as well. And then also parts of Forest Park. Because of the affordability and the upside of the location, as we said in the videos before this one, that the Kenosha community, or the community of Kenosha, is trying to make an update. Revitalize. I love that word, and I keep forgetting about it. It revitalizes the area, and the Lincoln Park is one of the revitalization projects for Kenosha. So when you go into that area, you can get it for cheaper, but then it will occur once that revitalization actually is finished. It will increase the equity of your location as well. What you need to avoid are the areas with high vacancies, meaning that people don't really want to live there. And that's why you rely on local real estate agents to get you to know where are the high vacancies, and because there is an issue, obviously, in the location of them. Major deferred maintenance, meaning that they keep putting off that replacement of the water heater or the furnace. That is going to be your big red flag.
Or the duplex just looks like it's ready to fall over. Like you go in there and you look at it. The biggest tell is when you go down to the basement. And the basement bricks, because a lot of these duplexes have older brick foundation, and the bricks are just starting to crumble, and they look like they're ready to crumble underneath. They're just caving in on itself. Those are big red flags usually.
And we've actually been into houses, duplexes as well, when we walked into the basement and the basement walls were bowing in, and that is a big scary purchase or a big scary repair that you don't want to take on. So again, rely on your real estate agent so we know where and advise you against or for a location.
Or poor walkability. A lot of renters that are renting duplexes, a lot of them, well, I'm not going to say a lot of them, but some of them don't have cars, so they rely on either public transportation or they walk everywhere they go. So you want to make sure that it's close-ish to downtown or close to public transportation.
I would also look around the neighborhood and maybe look at more green space. how much green space does that neighborhood have? And what is green space, Chad?
Just like public parks, you know, like Lincoln Park is perfect because there's Lincoln Park literally in the middle of Lincoln Park there. Right across the street from Lincoln, well, the old Lincoln School now, it's K-Tech, I guess, right?
Lakeview K through 8.
Okay, I'm sorry, I always get it wrong. Lakeview K through 8 school there. So, you know, if you decide to buy a duplex in the Lincoln Park area, literally Lincoln Park is literally right there. It's one of Kenosha's biggest parks.
Okay, so who should buy a duplex, Chad? Or who shouldn't? So the first time buyers who actually don't mind dealing with tenants has the ability to maintain and have some local contacts in regards to home maintenance are good people to purchase duplexes.
Or can do the maintenance themselves. We know a lot of people that can do it themselves. I can't do it myself,
Not
but
us, for sure.
some people can, so you can do it yourself, that's great.
Another good fit is local investors because of the fact that they're local here and they're able to maintain the property. Otherwise, if you are an investor from a different state, it's really hard to maintain or find people to maintain it. Otherwise, you're going to be going to these big box stores and paying an arm and a leg for it as well.
Definitely. So people that shouldn't buy an investment property are people who want hands-off income. You don't want to deal with people. You don't want to deal with the repairs. You don't want to deal with finding tenants.
Or late rents.
Yeah, you just don't want to deal with any of that kind of stuff. If you don't want to, especially if you don't want to deal with people, because having an investment property is a people business. You have to deal with the tenants on a monthly basis, if not more often. You have to at least talk to them every month and see how they're doing to collect the rent. Make sure that the house is still okay.
Yep.
See if it needs any repairs. Either you yourself or have your property manager check in on them every other month, at least every 3 months.
Exactly.
Change the furnace filter because you know you don't want to have to replace the furnace every couple of years because they didn't replace that furnace filter. That gets really expensive. So it is a people business. So if you don't want to deal with people, then you probably shouldn't buy an investment property.
So what is the right way to buy a duplex? So these little tips sounds just like buying any kind of property in any kind of state. Is one, get pre-approved. How many, how much are you looking for? That pre-approval will let you know what you can afford and what you're comfortable affording for multifamily financing. And then work with a local agent who actually understands rental comps and zoning. So we understand the local environment of Kenosha. Also use inspection contingency. This is a hard yes because of the fact that you don't know what is growing in between those the walls or the drywall. You got to make sure you are investing in a good solid location before you purchase it.
Make sure you don't buy a duplex that already has $20,000 worth of repairs before you even buy it. So make sure you do an inspection.
And then actually have a self-managing versus hiring a property manager. So make sure you know if you want to do the self-managing, and we will recommend if you are local to make sure you know what's happening at your property versus hiring a property manager. Like if you are an out-of-state investor and you're relying on a property manager, make sure that property manager is local, so they have all the local contacts and know the local environment in the community to make sure if you wanted to sell that duplex out of nowhere, you have us. So,
but decide which way you want to go before you even buy the duplex. Do you want to self-manage or do you want to hire somebody else to manage it for you? If you're here locally and you're going to buy a duplex, I would recommend trying to manage it yourself first because it is an experience and something that you may enjoy, something you may not enjoy. But if you don't enjoy it after the first 3 months, 6 months, you can always hire it out later down the road.
exactly.
So buying a duplex here in Kenosha can be an incredible opportunity. You can make a ton of money off it. It can be really rewarding, but it can also be a major headache, having to deal with tenants, having to deal with repairs, having to deal with possibly selling the duplex down the road. So make sure it's something that you really want to do. Make sure that you deal with somebody local to help you run the numbers, buy in the right place, do the thing that you actually want to do. We help buyers, sellers, investors, and relocators just like you every single week. So if you have any questions at all, or if you want to get started on your investment journey,
So you can call or text us at 262-331-1621, or you can connect with us by clicking one of our links below by grabbing one of our relocation guides and or a buyer's guide.
have a fantastic rest of the week, and we'll see you in the next video. Lots and lots of money.
Please use that part because I don't know what I said. For many people who have thought of buying a duplex,
I'm drinking. Wait till I put my cup down.
it's like, okay, what am I supposed to do? All right, so let's talk about the tax benefits. Chad, enlighten us. Oh my goodness. Wait until I say it. Smack down. All right.
So,
Stop. You like that?
good job.
I did it. Oh, man.
Which one do you want to do? Okay.
Putting Sorry, I messed that up, Roz.